Hi again, it's Paulina Van. I'm the author of Regala Healing, and this is part two of a series with a wonderful, exciting, dynamic guest, Mrs. Linda Walls Brown. And we did our first session on forgiveness, and specifically forgiveness with family members or among family members, and how to accomplish that. So if you have not had an opportunity to view that video, you can find it on the Regala Healing channel. So today, Linda and I are continuing, and we have another topic. She has another topic for me, but I'm going to begin, for those of you who haven't seen the first video. I'm going to ask Linda to introduce herself, and then we're going to get right into the questions that she has for me about my poetry. So welcome, Linda, and thank you for hanging in there and joining us for part two of this dialogue. And I want to also tell all of you that this is the first time that I am chatting with a guest. You know, I usually read a poem, one of my poems, and give my perspective. So Linda is our first one, the courageous one that's joining me. And Linda, what would you like our audience to know about you?
Oh, again, I'm just really excited to be the guinea pig.
Well, you're not a pig. You're
Well,
not a pig.
yeah, I should say the guinea bird.
Yes.
Just, you know, I mentioned earlier that Paulina and I go way, way back. We're sisters in many ways, and have been for years, reconnecting and reconnecting and reconnecting. And so I'm just really happy to be here, and grateful that I have the opportunity to share with her and get her wisdom and all of the pearls, the gifts that she continues to give others. I have an opportunity to be here one-on-one with her. And I think that's just really amazing and fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And can you tell the audience, remind them about your background related to books?
Oh, sure. So I mentioned before that one of the connecting pieces that Paulina and I share, I was actually in the book business, with her husband years ago. We had a bookstore that it started as a mail order book business and became so popular, people kept coming in and saying they wanted to come in and purchase the books as opposed to ordering them. So we had a bookstore in Preservation Park in Oakland, and just had a wonderful time with authors coming in for signings and having tours and selling at various events. Little did I know that I would go full circle and come back to talk about a wonderful book by this wonderful woman who is my sister, married to a very good friend. I mean, it just goes to show you the power of love and the power of God, you know, it's just amazing.
Absolutely. So just for the audience, Linda, when Linda and my husband owned the bookstore, it was years and years ago before I met him. My husband and I have only been married a little over 2.5 years. So that's what the full circle is. Who
Yes.
would know,
Who would know?
that that we would connect in this way? So Linda, besides being courageous, she's also very creative and innovative. And so she has questions for me about poems in the book. And so I'm going to have her introduce it, because I have no idea which poem she's going to ask me about or what question. So Linda, I invite you to create the scene here for us.
All right. Well, in the last session, we talked a lot about forgiveness. And as Paulina mentioned, And I thought that here again, just kind of following along with the whole holiday season, once we have an opportunity to forgive and to release all of the bad energy, it allows us to feel happy. I mean, we're able to live our lives in a happy way. We're able to have joy. And so one of your poems entitled Happy, I thought we would talk about in this session because it goes along with Happy Thanksgiving,
Oh,
Happy in Love, Happy Days Are Here Again. So we're going to try to embrace that happiness and talk about that poem.
okay. So it's just entitled Happy because I have a couple that
Right.
yeah,
Happy,
okay.
got Happy Today. This one is just Happy. It's
Okay, all right.
165.
Audience, you would think that I would know all my poems, but there are 100 of them. So
Right.
I have to clarify which one Linda wants me to refer to. So I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start by reading it, and then Linda will have, we'll explore it together. So this one's entitled Happy. I'm happy in this space. I'm happy my home is in a new place. I'm happy waking up to the trees. I'm happy praying on my knees. I'm happy viewing the mountain backdrop. I'm happy the blessings haven't stopped. I'm happy admiring the wild turkeys and deer. I'm happy feeling God's presence here.
Oh, wonderful. Now, throughout your book, you talk about, again, you talk about God, you talk about divinity, you talk about the power of goodness. And when I read this, one could say, okay, she moved to a new house and therefore she was happy. But it's bigger than that, isn't it?
Yes.
Much, much bigger. Tell us about that.
Whew, okay, so we've been, when I wrote that one, or when that one came to me, and for those of you who are just joining, this is not a book I sat down to write or created plan for. It was during my self-care journey where I was being and living and navigating this world with my heart instead of my head. So having more self-love and doing more self-care, that these poems began coming from me. And I attribute it to my creator speaking, opening up my heart, and then opening up my soul to give messages of healing. Because this book starts with my child abuse, and then that's the first poem, It Hurts, and then it goes through 99 healing poems. So we're focusing on being happy right now. And so when I wrote that one, or when that one came through me, we had been in the house about 2 months. And I come from a suburban area, a suburban home, to this place, which we call like an adult Disneyland. I mean, or the Wild Kingdom. There are deers and wild turkeys and foxes that, we see on a regular basis. But for me, the happiness goes beyond what I'm seeing. So yes, I'm seeing the beauty of God's creatures. I've been in arm's length of a deer and her doe, and also a buck. It's just been an absolutely incredible experience. And each time I see this wildlife, it reminds me of how powerful, how loving, how God is just everything, because these creatures, they are just so, so beautiful. And so that night that this one came to me, I, I think I might have been sitting up in bed and just reflecting on uh, the wonder of the space that I have been blessed. My husband and I have been blessed to live in. So yes, it goes far beyond the walls of our new home we have.
So for those who are listening in and they may be in a small apartment in the inner city, and their wildlife consists of maybe occasional cat or dog.
Mhm.
What do you tell them? I mean, how do they embrace the beauty of God's creations when they may be in, quote, the concrete jungle?
It's an excellent question. And I would say, how do you embrace and how do you love the place where you're in? Be it a studio, it may even be a tent. How do you find the presence and comfort in that space?
Mhm.
And I say to again focus. It may be a stray cat, it may be a wild dog, but these are God's creatures. It may be some other kind of pests, and we know what kind those are, but they are God's creatures. And if we focus on the beauty, no matter what the animal is, if you focus on that beauty, or it may be a tree or a tree stump, it could be grass.
Mhm.
But as we learn to focus on what is beauty, what is beautiful, and what is whole, the things that may bother us in a particular situation. So our life may not be the way that we actually want it to be. But if
Mhm.
you can focus on something outside of yourself and think about that beauty, it definitely is going to help. And it'll help you to love yourself more, no matter what the situation is.
Last time we talked about, in striving to forgive, it has to start here. It has to start with us first. So we have to do that work on ourselves. And when I look at the last line in your poem, it says, feeling God's presence here.
Mhm.
And so it's confirming your philosophy of going inside in order to appreciate what's outside. And given the fact that we believe God's presence is everywhere, we can be happy in just knowing that He's with us.
Mhm.
Is that kind of?
Absolutely. So, and again, for those of you, I come from both Linda and I come from a Christian perspective, but again, we embrace and respect all beliefs. And so, though our reference is to God and Jesus, etc., please replace that with what your belief is, because we embrace all beliefs. And so, when you believe that, if it's God or whatever your belief is always present and always available to you,
Mhm,
it just infuses that happiness.
mhm.
And even in the times, there's an adage, and I'm sure I learned it from my mom or my grandma, that trouble don't last always,
Okay. Okay.
and when you find yourself in that place, if you can just reach for something beyond you, reach for that hope, reach for that solace, and know that there's more, that you're not alone. I think that's what I want. You're never alone.
Yes, never alone. And the beauty for me also comes up when you talk about praying on your knees.
Mm.
That's happiness. Um, there have been many studies that talk about, altruism, and when you give to others, it creates these endorphins as though you were the recipient of a gift.
Mhm.
I think that when you get on your knees and when you call out to a higher power, so yes, for those who may have different names for the power that is within us, it really does allow you to be elevated
Mhm.
to a place outside of that ditch. I mean, outside of that low point. So happiness is something that you can control and create, focusing on the right thing, focusing on gratitude. I mean, Thanksgiving, here we go again, we're talking about the theme, but it's just being grateful. I may not have a home, but I do have a tent, or I may not have a tent, but I do have my legs. I may not have, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's finding that place that you can say, just thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Linda, preach. Okay.
I know.
Just preach. I'm gonna have to get my fan out so I can fan, but you're telling the truth. And what brings happiness and joy is individual for each one of us, even if we're siblings, if we're twins, triplet, whatever, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, no matter how similar you are.
Yes.
The joy is going to come in different ways, but it's there.
Yeah.
All you have to do is reach for it in any situation.
Reach out, grab it, right?
Yes, just reach for it and grab it and hold on to it. There is and again, it starts with self-love. And there's this Hawaiian prayer, and I use prayer loosely, that I have said for years. I look myself in the mirror and in the eyes in the morning, and it goes, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Just 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And the more you say it, I like you guys to try it, but you have to look yourself. So, we're on Zoom and I'm looking at myself. But it kind of changes your heart. You can start feeling a warmth coming from your heart, and it all happiness starts with self-love. Gotta love yourself.
Gotta love
So Linda, I think we have kind of explored this issue of happiness. I am sure you'd want to go on with another one, but we'll save it for later, unless there's a line from one of the other poems that you just like to emphasize. We're here to listen, and that'll wrap us up for this time together.
So yeah, I just love Happy Today as well. And it talks about, I'm happy today in the here and now. And that, I think, is really another empowering statement. In other words, if we continue to project on, oh Lord, this is going to happen, or oh, look at all of this stuff that I have to deal with, or I have problems. I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I was fussing about some rocks that were put down in my yard. The gardener didn't get the right rocks, and I was just so upset about that. And then a friend of mine lost her son. And I thought, What are you doing, Linda?
Mhm.
What are you doing? We have to really check ourselves in terms of being present and here and making sure that we, again, have the gratitude and the joy that God has given us right here and now.
Right here and now. Linda, like I said in part one, I love you for your transparency and honesty and letting people know that, you know, we can talk about love and joy and happiness and forgiveness, but at the end of the day, we are not perfect. We are
Absolutely.
human and we have these emotions, but thank God, thank the universe, thank whomever, we are blessed to know that we can be checked and say, you know, let's get it together now. You have so much to be thankful. And I'm so glad you brought that line up, and I'm happy today because it is important to stay in the present. If you want to be happy, if you want to experience the joy, you have to stay in the present. You can't think about the past because you can't change that. And the future, you may have intentions for, but the only thing you have control of right now is the present. And that's where the joy and happiness comes in. So, Linda, you've given me some material for my next couple of shows, being present. And then also this whole thing about perfectionism, because I have a poem about being perfect, and I have a poem about control. My brother, my late brother, used to say I have control issues, so I'm being very, I'm being very transparent. And he just, you know, taught me a lot. So Linda, I just appreciate you and love you, and I really want to thank you for being so courageous and taking this step with me. And you know I'm gonna invite you back. You may become a regular on this. I just thank you so much. And I just want to let you know out there in the virtual world that I am doing regular programming on blackdoctor.org every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm sorry, not every Sunday morning. It's every other Sunday morning. So it's the I'll put it down in the chat so you'll know, because I don't want to get it confused. It's either the first and third Sunday or second and fourth. But definitely this Sunday, the 21st of November 2021 will be my second show. Okay, so at this time, Linda, we've had the privilege, the honor, and just the joy of having Mrs. Linda Walls Brown having the inaugural chat with me, part 2 today. And we both wish you love and light, and we'll see you again online. Thank you.